If there's been one proven way to trigger the Dragon Ball community, it is to say the words Dragon Ball GT. By simply uttering those words, you will force people to bring up the subject of canon, how GT never existed, and whether or not it ruined the Dragon Ball franchise. But regardless of your personal love or hate towards GT, there was one fight that would have improved GT all by itself. In fact, if it were executed properly, this fight could have been one of the best fights in Dragon Ball history. But the first thing we must first discuss is what is this fight that we are talking about, and as the thumbnail of this video spoils, it is a tag team battle between Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta versus Nuova and Eis Shenron, also known as San Shinglong or Si Shinglong from the Japanese terminology. And you will find that after watching this video that the potential that this fight had appeals to both hardcore and casual Dragon Ball fans. And here are our 5 arguments to support this. Starting off, because Goku, Vegeta, Nuova, and Eis are totally different types of characters, creates a strong character dynamic for this battle. Because of this, Goku would be able to continue his intense battle with Nuova, and we could see the respect between those two increase as the battle unfolds. In contrast, since Eis uses every trick in the book to win a fight, his personality and demeanor would be perfect for a fight against Vegeta. For example, there was a scene in Dragon Ball GT where Eis injured Pan to take the Dragon Balls and to put Goku in a dilemma. But if Vegeta were involved in that battle, he would serve as the bad cop to Goku's good cop, which would be necessary against a character such as Eis. Because of this now forces viewers to ask themselves whether a warrior should be more like Goku and Nuova or more like the cold Vegeta and Eis. And this ultimately allows viewers to grow as the characters adapt in battle themselves. Just think of all of the times that Goku has been harmed because he gave a villain a chance. With Vegeta's presence, both Goku and Vegeta would limit how merciful each other could be towards their opponents. On the other hand, we could expect Nova's noble instincts to restrict him from maximizing his full potential in battle because of the friendship he made with Goku. And like Vegeta, Eis would be instructing him on the reality of battling to death and ignoring the connection that he made with Goku. And because this battle would have illustrated an issue for both sides, the opposing forces of Goku and Vegeta versus Nuova and Eis is simply a brilliant character mix in terms of morality. And this argument suggests a huge reason why this battle would have been great for Dragon Ball GT. However, as we arrive at our next subject of comparison, we are going to take a look at character themes, and while the themes are simplistic, it greatly contributes to the unique feel of this battle. In this matchup, you would have 2 dragons of both fire and ice. On the other side, you would have 2 Saiyan primates destined to battle in this dragon versus ape theme. And for Japan, creating a mini-sized kaiju-esque battle with apes and dragons just screams interest from both children and adults. But what would make this battle truly memorable would be the actual attacks that would be involved in the battle itself. Just imagine Goku and Vegeta having to use the afterimage technique to avoid an onslaught of frozen attacks by ice. But since fire melts ice, Nuova would have to adjust his fighting style to not contradict with his own brother's abilities. But because Nuova was known better for his extreme speed, when you mix in the ability to attack fast along with the ability to freeze opponents, Nuova and Ice would have problems in their matchups but also have a lot of chemistry at the same time. And in the case of Goku and Vegeta, the true beauty in seeing Goku and Vegeta fighting would be more so how they would adjust to Nuova and Ice instead of bringing new abilities to the table. And the contrast of these character themes would have made this fight eye candy for Dragon Ball fans. But for now, we are going to move on to how this battle would have fixed several of the issues from the Shadow Dragon arc itself. And to begin, one of the issues that the Shadow Dragon arc had up until the arrival of Nuova and Ice were the foundations of the lesser dragons. To be frank, every single dragon that was faced up until Nuova and Ice was insanely weak, and Goku had to suppress his power to the extremes just to make the fight watchable. Another issue was the fact that several of these dragons were forgettable. Outside of following an elemental theme of poisonous hazards, electricity, wind, water, and ground, these shadow dragons were laughable in terms of their overall impact on the entire arc. They just served as mini bosses for Goku and Pan until the true battles actually began. And finally, the third issue was that none of these dragons had any true motives whatsoever except to kill and exist to be killed. But you're probably wondering how two Super Saiyan 4s facing off against Nuova and Eis fixed all these issues. Because Vegeta joins this fight with Goku, we could also see the full extent of everyone's abilities, which corrects the issue of the dragons being too weak, because Nuova and Eis being so strong together would fix many of the boring power scaling issues with many of the lesser dragons. In addition, Nuova and Eis were the first dragons to truly talk about the Saiyans and their fighting potential, and because of Saiyan history, adding Vegeta to the fight creates a more personal atmosphere to this battle, and we can all agree that because Nuova is a noble dragon while Eis is completely evil, their character contrast makes these dragons much more memorable as opposed to the forgettable Shadow Dragon. And since we saw that Eis Shenron has interest in collecting the Dragon Balls as opposed to Nuova who just wants to fight for the joy of battle, that also gives these dragons motives as opposed to the other dragons from before that just existed to be there. So overall, this battle would have enhanced the introduction of Nuova and Eis from the original events. But as we transition over to our fourth argument, this tag team battle would balance character screen time. And it's been a running joke in the Dragon Ball fandom that Dragon Ball GT is often referred to as Dragon Ball Goku's time because of the insane lopsided screen time that Goku gets in the series. And we all know that Goku is the main character, but in Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super, there have been many stretches where Goku is absent or not the focal point of the show. In fact, Dragon Ball Z is least reliant on Goku's screen time, as there have been numerous stretches in the Saiyan arc, Namek arc, Android arc, and Buu arc where Goku is absent. Think of all of the times where Goku was dead, injured, sick, or dead again in all of these arcs that really made us focus on the other characters at the point. And characters like Gohan, Trunks, Vegeta, and Piccolo were brought on to carry the show in Goku's absence. And most of us would agree that Dragon Ball GT Shadow Dragon arc is by far the worst example of overusing Goku's character. Goku essentially fought against every single Shadow Dragon all by himself up until Sin or Yi Shenlong showed up. And while you could argue that Pan had minor assistance, she was ultimately a side character that was strictly inputted to serve as a maiden in distress. Just look at how silly it was that Gohan and Videl are drinking tea while Pan and Goku are fighting against all of the Shadow Dragons by themselves. And it was by far the worst character usage even for GT standards. So if Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta were to fight alongside Goku, this at least makes a dent into GT's huge issue that it had with the lack of character usage. And on a side note, it seems insanely out of character for Vegeta to take a shower and relax while his rival is fighting all of the villains by himself. So if this battle did actually happen, it would shift the narrative from putting obstacles in front of Goku to actual teamwork with multiple characters. And this concludes our fourth argument on solving a major GT issue. Furthermore, as we arrive at our next argument, we can all agree that if this battle occurred, there would be significantly more hype for the final battle against Omega Shenron, also known as Yi Shenron. But let's break this down into two scenarios. In scenario A, after Goku and Vegeta would have killed Nuova and Eis, Sin Shenron would appear and steal the Dragon Balls. So just as our heroes are about to celebrate, they are forced to deal with an even more powerful dragon after being fatigued against Nuova and Eis. Because of this, it stacks the odds even greater against our heroes because of the difficulty in the battle that they just fought. So when Gohan and the other warriors showed up to help out, they would actually be replenishing both Goku and Vegeta at the same time as a unit, which would be much more effective in making them useful for the overall plot and character usage. And regardless of whether or not a Spirit Bomb or a Fusion would have been necessary to take out Omega, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta would have been much more developed over the course of a few episodes instead of randomly showing up with a power-up from Bulma. However, Scenario B is much darker and has far more tension. After an intense battle with Nuova and Eis, Goku would have been blinded by Eis for his good morals just like the original version, and as a result of this, Vegeta would have killed both Eis and Nuova with the assistance of being helped by a blind Goku. Now in the fight against Sin or Eis Shenron, Vegeta would have to fight Eis Shenron all by himself while protecting a blind Goku while the others pitched in to help out. And another difficult scenario that we could also write into this battle would be, what if a blind Goku would have had to have tried to fuse with Vegeta? This would truly illustrate Goku's mastery of coordination and sense of direction by being able to fuse while being blind. And this obstacle would make the arc much more memorable than it originally was. So as a result of the battle against Nuova and Eis, the final battle against Eis Shenron or Sin Shenron or Omega Shenron, whichever one you want to go with, would have had far more options with its storytelling potential. So ultimately, how would this battle have all turned out? Well, it would have created a unique theme, featured stronger character dynamics, reduced GT's over-reliance on Goku, it would give more screen time to more interesting dragons, and would have hyped up Omega Shenron in the end. So because of this, we can all agree to disagree that this battle would have made GT far better than it originally was. And if you love talking about GT, check out 2 theory videos on was Goku dead at the end of GT or GT's 100-year mystery. In addition, you will definitely like what if Pan turned Super Saiyan or what if Bra was a fighter in addition to those 2 theory videos. And until next time, stay cool and stay safe, my friends.